What will $1 billion get you? An island.
Democratic caucuses in American Samoa.
Yep.
They have 100% reported. And Mike Bloomberg gets 5 delegates from American Samoa.
Yes, congratulations, Bloomer. You earned it. But what a price tag. His campaign is the political version of movie popcorn. Bloomer spent enough to feed nearly everyone in the city of South Bend, Indiana, Mayor Pete's hometown, for 2 years. Millions per delegate, all to convince people he was better than Trump. If you see some portly dude with a toupee buying everyone at the bar drinks, you can bet he's a campaign consultant. Bloomberg's loss is his new Porsche. But lessons abound. Bloomy proved money talks. Considering his drab persona, his cash still got him nearly to the front of the line. Who knows if he had skipped that debate? That's the other lesson. Money can buy you votes, but not a personality. Ultimately, you're still stuck with this.
I really am surprised that all of these, my fellow contestants up here, I guess would be the right word for it, given nobody pays attention to the clock. I'm surprised they show up, because I would have thought after I did such a good job in beating them last week that they'd be a little bit afraid to do that. They talked about 40 Democrats. 21 of those were people that I spent $100 million to help elect. I got them. We have a very few non-disclosure agreements.
How many is
Let me
that?
finish.
How many is that?
None of them accused me of doing anything other than maybe they didn't like the joke I told.
All right. And let's not forget
I didn't like his jokes. Can I have money?
Yes.
Yes, you were.
Let's not forget his unique way of eating pizza, licking each finger. I haven't been this grossed out since I walked in on my grandparents.
Dinner time. Yes.
Then there's Liz, who couldn't even win her own state. That's like your family going on vacation without you. She's Macaulay Culkin in Home Alone. The entire state ditched her, leaving her with 1 powwow cookbook and 365 identical black shirts. The lesson here, America's pretty good with discerning fakes. Liz couldn't shake the authentic truth that her ambition created new deceptions, and each lie a new twist on victimhood. No wonder her constituents had reservations for a woman who falsely claimed her ancestors lived on one. So last night, the Dems chose a comfy sweater over identity politics, money, and a socialist. Could the party finally have grown up? No, all they did was reach old age. You know, Juan, what sucks about him dropping out is we're not going to see the Bloomberg-Trump matchup we so desperately wanted, because it would be great.
It would have been interesting, right? Because we live in a populist age, as we often talk
Yes.
about, and we think, you know what, maybe Sanders is the mirror of Trump, but actually Bloomberg would have been an interesting mirror to Trump. I don't know if the populist base of the Democratic Party would have taken to him the way the populist base of the GOP took to Trump. But I will say, to me, in looking back on Bloomberg's campaign now, no one can defy the primary process. He's decided to skip those first four contests.
Like Giuliani.
Yeah, like Rudy. That's what occurred to me today. Like Rudy Kennedy. And it obviously didn't work for Rudy, and it didn't work for him. Maybe somebody in the future is able to do it again with a lot of money, but it didn't work for this guy.
You know, Kennedy, I was just thinking when I was doing this that Liz was really the one that took out Bloomberg.
Yes.
He pulled a Kerrigan, as I like to call it.
So Liz, and I think she's really going to hurt herself with progressives if she stays in, because she was there for 2 reasons. And both of those reasons were to protect Joe Biden. So she has promised her allegiance to the Democratic establishment from the beginning of this process, because she has needed their support. And she stayed in order to poke a few more holes in Bloomberg, not that that needed to happen after last night, but also to take some votes away from Bernie.
Yeah.
So, you know, how would Bernie have done in Massachusetts if she had dropped out before Super Tuesday? And, you know, it's pretty clear that he would have had a greater delegate haul if she had. And I'm just wondering, you know, Ilhan Omar sent out a nasty tweet last night aimed squarely at Elizabeth Warren. And I'm wondering if she shares that vitriol with more progressives who really now want nothing to do with her.
Oh, brother, as I like to say. Hey, Jesse, almost forgot your name.
Jesse Waters.
Yes.
This is his world.
I want to know what you're thinking now about Bloomberg or Liz.
I'll
whatever.
tell you what I'm thinking. You buy an island, you should get to live there. This has to be the biggest con job of all time. Did you
With
know
Tulsi, though.
the Bloomberg campaign had 7 fully paid staffers living in America's Samoa for 3 months.
Really?
I have to see that expense report. I know junkets, and that has got to be the best junket of all time. There are 40,000 voters in America's Samoa. They only got 175 of them to vote for Mike Bloomberg.
Jeez.
What the hell were they doing in America's Samoa for 3 months?
Partying with his cash.
It's amazing. And Bloomberg didn't even miss that he was missing $500 million. This has to be a huge con job. You get 7% of the ad buy. He spent over $500 million. The ad guy, I'm not going to say his name, made $40 million this winter. I'm not going to say his name. He's going to have, you know, ex-girlfriends or pretend family members knocking at his door with their hands out because everybody knew this guy did not have the political talent to pull this off. He can't read a prompter. He's worse than Al Sharpton. His voice is worse than Liz Warren, and he looks like a sea turtle. He actually said this. I was watching his speech last night.
Yes.
This is words that he said. Ready? He read this. I want to put the United back in the United States of America. Even Beto O'Rourke would have crossed that line out. That is not good material. I can't believe this guy even lasted that long.
All right, Katie, do you care to add anything on him, or would you like to?
We're never going to solve the box controversy. Whether President Trump
Where's the box?
and the box, whether Michael Bloomberg gets a box if he were to debate President Trump. But everyone's making a pretty big deal out of the fact that Michael Bloomberg is backing Joe Biden. And it's like, congratulations, the guy who won 175 votes in American Samoa is now backing you and endorsing you. Good luck. Like, maybe some of the money will be helpful, but in terms of a movement and any kind of grassroots support from Michael Bloomberg, it doesn't exist. So I wouldn't be banking on that. The other thing is Michael Bloomberg participating in that debate in the town hall with Fox, he completely exposed himself as an elitist who believes that he knows better than you and that he's going to tell you how you're supposed to live your life. Well, he gets to do whatever he wants. He used to be kind of this figure that nobody really had like a moderate appeal to. I think he completely exposed himself as the opposite of
And
that.
no self-awareness, licking his fingers
Yeah.
after putting that half-eaten
Oh, my
pizza
God.
slice back in the box.
Super Tuesday
That's
didn't
the kind
kill
of
his
thing.
campaign. The finger-licking video did.
Didn't you vote for him as a Republican?
I wasn't living in New York City at the time, but nice try, Juan.
Okay.
I have a dumb question. I know we got to go on, but what a stupid question. You can laugh at me. American Samoa. Is there another Samoa?
It's a
there is.
conglomeration of islands.
There you go.
It's Tulsi
They should
now.
call them the mini Mikes.
All right.